It's been a bit of a long road in some cases, getting university approval for me to come and speak, and I'm always left wondering why, what it is that is so threatening to the progressive left on American campuses about a gay man with the wrong opinions. And I've come to the conclusion that the quality of debate on the progressive left, as exemplified in academic departments up and down the country, in the pages of Vox and Gawker and BuzzFeed and Mike and all those other despicable places, has reached such intellectual lows that the only way that the left now has to interrogate arguments is on the basis of the identity of the speaker. And because, although I'm a gay man and I like dick, I don't necessarily want the federal government to take 75% of my earnings, even though, you know, gay people are supposed to believe in all of those things, that the left just doesn't really know how to argue with me. Doesn't really understand how to deal with somebody that they can't call a misogynist or a sexist or a transphobe or a racist or any of the other names that they will call all of you if you have the wrong opinions about things. They can't really do it with me and get away with it. It doesn't stick because I'm, you know, a preposterous gay man with ridiculous hair who never shuts up about black penises. They seem... You read my Twitter, you know. They seem unable to interrogate arguments and to look at facts, and instead they sort of run shrieking into safe spaces anytime a speaker appears on campus who doesn't agree with their point of view. I've come to the decision, though, that it's not necessarily the students that are the problem, although they are, of course, whining babies. It's the faculty. It is your professors. It is institutions that permit this behavior. The campus radicals of the 60s and 70s were, to their credit, great believers in free speech. They were wrong about everything, but they, to their credit, believed that people should be allowed to be offensive and people should be allowed to challenge the establishment. Their children and their children's children, the social justice warriors of the modern campus, have forgotten this. They've forgotten something interesting. They've forgotten that free speech, but more specifically offensive speech, serves two purposes. One, it keeps us safe. In those countries where people are allowed to offend the ruling classes, and in America that means the liberals who run academia, the newspapers, and university, and the entertainment industry. In countries where you're allowed to be rude about those people, we don't shoot each other over politics. In those countries in the world where you're not allowed to be rude about the ruling establishment, people do shoot each other. But there's another more ironic failure in the left's new hostility to free speech, and it's universally hostile to free speech, whether it's the Black Lives Matter movement or feminists, they're all the same. They don't want to hear it, they want to shriek, they want to yell, they want to shout you down, they want safe spaces, trigger warnings, all this nonsense. And it's that they've forgotten that free speech, and specifically offensive speech, the right to say things that people above you don't want to hear in a manner in which might offend them, is an engine of progress, but an engine specifically of progressive progress. It is what gave us gay rights and gay marriage. It is what gave women the vote. It is what brought about an end to slavery in this country. And the left has forgotten, it seems, that what got them there in the first place was the right not just to say what you want, but the right to offend people while you do it. As I say, we're short on time because I am a threat to student safety, because I am a gay man with opinions, so sorry about that. But I want to say just two things before we get into having a conversation, and you can ask me whatever you want about whatever you want. In fact, I think you already have, and we'll get through the questions. The first thing is, it's really important that you remember, as consumers, as customers of this educational establishment, what you're not getting for your money. And this isn't just specific to this university, it's specific to most of them, actually. And I was at Rutgers where people smeared themselves with red paint and yelled, "This man preaches hatred." And, you know, the students are just idiots, right? These are just dumb kids who don't know anything. But it made me wonder, what are these kids learning in class? What are they not being exposed to? Well, they're not being exposed to any point of view that challenges their prejudices. And I use the word prejudices advisedly. The problem is with the staff, with the teachers, with the faculty, who are so politically homogenous that they don't even know alternative points of view, let alone want to expose you to them. And the second thing I'll leave you with is just a recapitulation, really, of the importance of offensive speech. I don't really want to come here and start and talk endlessly about myself. As much as I enjoy talking about myself, it is my favorite subject, as anyone who follows me on Twitter will tell you. But the way that my tour is panning out, this dangerous faggot tour, it's a good name, right? The most interesting thing about this tour has been the tour itself, not necessarily the subject matter of any of these discussions, because I've realized just how infantilizing these institutions have become, and just how allergic to alternative points of view the progressive left now is. Anyone who asks for a trigger warning or a safe space should be immediately expelled, not rewarded by the institution at which they're studying with resources. Rutgers, a week after my talk, the university staged a group therapy session for people who weren't at my talk, but were so appalled and so threatened and so violated by the idea that I might, not agree with the tactics of modern third wave feminism, that I might not like some feminists, that they had a group therapy session that involved the police, it involved the campus counselling services, it involved numerous members of the faculty, the student council. This stuff is nuts. This stuff is getting in the way of your education, and I would advise you to resist it at all turns. Every time you hear about this stuff, you should use the most powerful, the best weapon in any free speech fundamentalist's arsenal, and that is ridicule. These things are worthy of ridicule, they are deserving of ridicule. You're here, the purpose of your time here is to explore new ideas. The purpose of your time here is to challenge yourself. The purpose of your time here is to interrogate new ways of looking at the world. Your professors aren't going to help you do that in many cases, because they don't care about that. They don't believe in free speech, and they are totally politically homogenous. Many of your peers are of the same view, but fortunately you have organizations like the ones who have brought me here today, and for as long as it is still allowed, you'll have speakers like me. So, although we've sort of spoken around me and the topic of free speech and not really got onto any substantive stuff, I'm going to finish there because I know everybody has questions, and we're going to get into, if you're here because you want to hear stuff about the wage gap or campus rape culture or whatever you want, I think it's going to come out during the questioning. So thank you very much for coming, because it is a brave act even to show up to these talks sometimes, because you will get social censure, you will get black looks from professors, and I've heard from students here that they already have. Well, I have a message for the faculty, which is tough shit. They may not like conservatives, they may not like free speech activists, they may be fully down the road of crazy, hateful, bigoted, sexist third-wave intersectional feminism. But they're in the minority. They remain in the minority. The students who believe this on campus are in the minority, and the more the public finds out about this stuff, the more they loathe it. Social justice flew wildly out of control in 2015. 2016 is the year we take common sense and we fight back against it.